Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. Hey, I'm Victor. So, thanks for tuning in. So, I thought I'd do a conspiracy show. Conspiracy. One of my viewers who became friendly with is one of the affected with the magnetic phenomena that I discovered that people are having magnets stick to them along certain chakra lines, and I'm investigating that. But just to give you a little bit more information, I came in contact with people that are actually having, I discovered it, that people are having the occurrences of having magnets stick to them, and some of them even with a click. Now, it doesn't happen to coincide to any vaccine. It's impossible for that to happen. And some people say, oh, maybe it's a vaccine, or maybe it's, this or that. No, you don't get it. So along certain chakra lines, they'll have it. So they won't have it like, you'll have it like here, but you won't have it like, certain places. You'll have it in collarbone, but you won't have it. Like you'll have it on your third eye, and you might have it here, but you won't have it here. So, for instance, I find that very fascinating, so I'm investigating that more. But this person asked me, I said, what would you like me to do a show on? So they sent me a whole list. So might as well talk about it. So first thing, these are all conspiracies, by the way. So there might be some debunking going on. NESARA is one of them. NESARA stands for the National Economic Security and Recovery Act. Was set of proposed economic reforms for the United States suggested during the 1990s. I'm reading from Wikipedia by Harvey Francis Bernard. Bernard claimed that proposals, which included replacing the income tax with a national sales tax, abolishing compound interest on secured loans, and returning the bimetallic currency, which would result in 0% inflation and more stable economy. The proposals were never introduced before Congress. That actually sounds pretty good to me. NESARA has been better known as a subject of a cult-like conspiracy theory promoted by someone named Shanti Candace Goodwin, doing business as the Dove of Oneness, who claimed that the act was actually passed with additional provisions in national economic security and blah, 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 blah. So it's basically somebody lied about it, spun it off, and made it into almost like a cult-like thing. And then NESARA ends up being somehow connected with space beings and things like that. But it sounds to me total rubbish. And the guy who came up with that says the Harvey Francis Bernard said that it never got passed and never was put in front of Congress, although she says it was. And she says this would happen like 2003. And since 2003, they've been saying it's going to happen any day. So sometimes I'll see that on certain forums and certain things like that. You'll see people say, oh, it's coming. So, or you'll see like they're buying us out of our debt, and they're going to forgive all the debt to people. That's coming, blah, blah, blah. Canada did forgive Canadians their debt, Chase Bank, which I was shocked. I was like, what's this? So it almost seems like there's some truth to this in a way for Canada to do that when the COVID-19 originally came out back in March. That did happen. But as conspiracy goes, they're talk about Sonata, like ascended masters and all this other beings involved. And they basically, the people started this, ripped off people, like confirmed like $10,000, maybe even a lot more money, somehow, twisted around. So seems like conspiracy, and nothing happened. Now, if they end up forgiving everyone's debts, and there could be, eventually people go to a universal basic income, which would be something completely different. Universal basic income would mean that everyone's on the government dole in a way, and they're cutting you a check every month to do absolutely nothing. With the advent of AI and robots that might be taking away people's jobs, some people say that might be that way that it has to go. But if we look at society has changed since certain jobs were gone, like for instance, switchboard operators. You would take a phone and you plug in and you take it out and you plug it in again, to make a phone call. Those jobs went away, but other jobs opened up. So there's always new avenues that we see of things that, open up. So I don't think that those kind of jobs will be going away. For instance, with the advent of cars that are self-driving, that will take away a lot of jobs, but there might be other jobs that open up instead. So I actually teach, meditation. I don't know if you know, and spirituality. So those jobs will actually be opening up. And I had a conversation with someone, did a spiritual mentorship. You could hire me, say, hey, Victor, let's do a spiritual mentorship. And we talked about it a little bit. And I think it's a good avenue for you to go towards, maybe a life coach or something. There's always people who need help, like what I do. And happy to show you some ropes, whatever. But I think that's important, and those things are going to be jobs that are flourishing in the future. So there's more people looking to certainly not be depressed and things of that nature, and talk certain things out. Sometimes you have to. Anyway, so Nasara sounds like not necessary. It's fictitious, I think. But you'll see all these people with channeled information and get all this stuff. So anyway, so I'm kind of debunking that one, but prove me wrong and forgive my debt, and that would be a nice thing. So the next question, there are 11 questions, guys. Who can we trust anymore? So you can trust me, right? So who can you trust anymore? Good question. Well, I would think if someone says they're spiritual, that means they're coming from a place of truth, and they would be more apt to be in line with the truth versus somebody saying, it's a tough thing. What I tell people is that you should, research everything. And, if I say something and you're not sure, research it, Some people who, it sounds like they're being honest, will say, don't trust anybody. But that's not really, a good thing. You could extend trust to people that you feel comfortable with and you feel like they're telling the truth, and, go from there. Now, me personally, I end up, a lot of times what I do is I just trust people, what they're saying. And I trust them 100%. So I trust pretty much everybody. But I give them rope that way. And then ends up being when I'll find out a moment, like I'll see right through them. I'll see that they're lying or something, and then the trust is gone. So, and they don't realize that I caught them, because you have to, if you're good at facial recognition, facial features, micro, things you could see in her face, things like that, I'll just know. Like, I'm an INFJ. Like, you can't lie to me without, me knowing. Nine times out of a million, you know what I mean? 9 times out of 3, I'll just know. I know. And I remember a long time ago, there was this, I was with I was a young guy, group of guys, and he said, here's this guy. And he was like an older guy, all muscles, and he was going to be our trainer. And he said, listen, whatever you do, don't lie to him. He could see right through you. And I was like, oh, okay. And you just knew, and you just didn't lie to him, about anything. And as a young person, he was a role model, and he would just be like this, and you knew, not to. So we should be able to trust everybody, but then when you see that they said something's not true, then you'll know. And what I say is pray a lot and get close to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, one of the things that the Holy Spirit teaches is discernment, so that way you'll know when people are telling truth, and you won't be because when you yourself, I talked about this in my other shows, I don't like to repeat myself, but when you end up telling the truth all the time, if you make it your daily practice to tell the truth constantly, then when someone says something untruthful, it feels different, and you'll just know. So if you want to know who to trust, you should tell the truth all the time. Little quick story. I had a friend, very good friend of mine, that I haven't messaged with in a while, but they said, could you say that you're going to see this senator and go to this event, just RSVP. I want a lot of people RSVP because I want to go to the event. It's something good to do, and there's something going to be there, and I want the senator to be there. So I'm like, I'm not really planning on going. So if I RSVP'd, but I didn't really mean to, that would be dishonest. You wouldn't want me to be dishonest, would you? And I didn't hear back for a while. And then they said, well, you should really go. It's a good event. But they didn't confront that issue. Like, you're asking me to be dishonest. So on one respect, it would be like, yeah, come on, just do it. Just do it. Just say you're going to go and don't go. That's what friends do for other friends. Just do it. And the other thing is, I can't. I literally can't. When you're in a higher frequency wavelength and you're doing healings and things like that for people, I just can't. I can't. That'll screw me all up. Like something like that, that could keep me up like all night, and praying, asking for forgiveness. I just can't. I just can't. So when you get to that level, higher frequencies, and then you just can't, Anyway, so who can you trust? Everybody, but get in a higher frequency, and then you'll know what I'm saying. Third question: clones - celebrities / Bill and Melinda Gates. There's no question mark there, but I don't know what that question. So now Avril Lavigne, right? So Avril Lavigne. The conspiracy, which is actually, I believe this is a real thing, which might blow your mind, is that Avril, you know who she is, she was a teen singer. She dyed her hair. She's blonde, and it was black and blonde. And she, what happened was she was into punk, and very depressing kind of stuff. And she was having problems, a lot of problems, because she was, depressed all the time. Anyway, the record label hired someone to do a stand-in sometimes for her, because she had engagements, and they got somebody who was a very close body double, and she would hang out with the body. You could go online, Avril Lavigne, and Avril Lavigne, and then Google it, and you'll see her with her body double. So they're hanging out. It's a true story. And then supposedly, which I'm pretty sure happened, Avril Lavigne killed herself. Now the other person, her stand-in, legally changed her name to Avril Lavigne. You see, and then she just was already standing in for her, doing musical engagements, and then keeping it going, right? And that was that's that conspiracy. Supposedly, the music changed after that, which it did. The music changed, and she sings differently, and she looks differently. but people still say it's Avril Lavigne, but it's his body double. So is it, do I think that's a real thing that happened? Yeah, I actually do think that that's real because it makes total sense. And I saw the pictures. They're online. You could look at it now. Avril Lavigne and her body double and the conspiracy. And I looked it up. I'm like, this is crazy. But then it seems real. So to me, is that in a yes or no category? I would say that's a yes on the conspiracy theories. That sounds real to me. Now, the other body doubles that have been had conspiracies about them are one of the Beatles, Paul McCartney. Supposedly he had, and you could look it up, he had this a body double, and then he supposedly died in a car wreck, and a lot of things since Wings has been like this other guy, which is crazy. Is that one true? I'm not really sure. When you go into the conspiracy of that and you go down that rabbit hole and you look at it, that's a hard one to figure out exactly, because then you're like, no, yes, and no, and then yes, but then the other Beatles, why would they put up with that? But they had put up with other band people leaving the band and other guys showing up, and it's a weird thing. So do I believe in that one? I would lean towards no, but that's a weird one. Is it like The Island, like that movie where Ewan McGregor was in, and Scarlett Johansson, where they actually can grow a body in a vat and blah 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 blah. Are billionaires growing bodies in vats and harvesting their organs? Could that happen? Could it happen physically? Yeah, they cloned Dolly since a long time ago already. They cloned Dolly, and they can clone. You could actually go and take a DNA sample from your dog and send it to this company, which I went down a rabbit hole with that, and it's a whole big thing. This company was a Chinese company, and it's really creepy. They went to Texas, and they can clone your dog, but yet they're doing other cloning things. It's super, super, super creepy. If you ever get into that conspiracy, I did a long time ago. I don't even remember it that well, but it's creepy. There's this company that will clone your dog and cat, and it gives me the creeps. They have to clone your dog, by the way, or cat or whatever pet you have. They'll take it and they'll make supposedly it's 100 tries before they get it right. So just imagine you have 99 versions of your dog in pain, and then they kill it, and then you get the one that's like yours. It's just really creepy. I have to say, don't recommend it. And then these celebrities are, I had my dog made. Yeah, well, there's 99 versions of your dog that were euthanized. They were waiting to see, and if it made it past a certain time. It's just disgusting. That's pretty bad. That's why it's creepy. But there's other things. If they're doing that with people, which they said they did before, it's super creepy. And then could they do it physically? Yeah, they could do it. I don't think they're speeding up the age process, but who knows? Could they do it? Yeah, they could do that. Are they doing it? Probably not. I don't think so. I've heard that they can't. I'm typo negative. I heard they can't clone me. So, knock on wood. So, clones. We'll knock that one off the list. Number 4, there's 11. Number 4, I'm trying to go quick. I'm already 19 minutes. I need this, speed it up. Loud booms across the country. There's loud booms, underground booms. Boom, boom. What's going on? According to some conspiracy channels, which I follow everything, there are these booms, right? And they're booms, and they're You go to a rural town, all of a sudden there's a boom, and they're like, "Where is it? It's underground, but there's no earthquake. What's going on?" So, could it be DUMBs, deep underground military bases? Could it be some tunnels that they made? And could those be the sonic booms that are going from one side of the country to the other, or something like that? Yeah, probably. Do I have proof? No. What else could it be, right? So there's probably some booms. They recently were able to do some kind of way like a seismograph, but deep, 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 and they found underground structures towards the center of the earth. Leads people to think there's some kind of something going on in the center of the earth. But the loud booms, to me, that would be a yes. I think there's some underground tunnels that they have, and they've had for years. If you go supposedly to Moscow, you go underground Moscow, there's a whole city underneath Moscow. There's certain Russian cities that they built. They have a whole city underneath in some of the cities that people don't really know of, which is really weird. If anybody wants to send me a couple $1 million, I'll go buy an underground base and we can chill out. That'd be fun. Okay. No takers. Great mask debate. Why in hell are they still pushing this agenda? Well, there's conspiracies about that they're pushing the mask debate, push, because they can end up, I don't think that this was a conspiracy like from the beginning for people to get injected and then to get the RFID chips and mark of the beast, blah, 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 but never let a good, crisis go to waste. So, why I think the government's trying to do what they, people in power are trying to do something because they don't know what the hell to do. They really don't. Your leaders don't have a clue. I have a clue. They have zero clue. Vote for me for whatever. I'll be in charge of the commune. Let's go. But they don't have a clue. They really don't. They're just doing what he thinks right. What they think's right. But they don't have connection, to higher source. They don't know. So they're running around like, I don't know. Well, should we wear a mask? Should we not wear a mask? They don't know. I'm trying to go quick. When number 6, when are the pedo celebs, politicians going to be exposed and arrested? Well, some were. When are they going to be exposed? It's funny because you'll go on some conspiracy channels and they'll say, "Oh, Masara, that's all coming out." Q, they're all talking about that. Oh, they're coming out. They're going to catch them. You know what? Power corrupts ultimately, and when you get towards that ultimate power, you end up, whatever weird thing that you're into, you seem to have the power to do. You're going to do it for a lot of people, especially if they don't believe in a higher power, they don't believe in God, they don't believe in heaven and hell. They're going to be acting out. A lot of times it's not. They're pushed from whatever, they're just acting out. The other thing is, a lot of these people are demonic. They have that kind of influence, and they're acting out on purpose because that's what they believe, right? So whether you believe, it doesn't matter what they believe. So if these people believe, they go Bohemian Grove and they do all their weird stuff, and they end up convincing themselves, whether it's true or not, that that's the reason they're in power, they're going to continue, right? So if you're going to drink baby's blood to, if they believe, look at that Abramovich chick though, right? She was like 70, she looked like she was 30. There is something to that. Anyway, not that I recommend it. I don't do that. Fluoride in the water, one of my favorites. And I posted about this the other day. And we're at 24 minutes. I'm trying to go fast. So I talked about this once on another channel. So I was praying, and I heard a voice and said, "You are toxic," and that was one of the biggest things to me. Woke me up, you could say. And then I researched it, and I found out that there's fluoride in the water. There's neurotoxins everywhere, and that's part of the waking up process, is realizing their environment's super toxic. But supposedly they put the fluoride in the water to help your teeth. The real thing is that the companies have a byproduct when they make certain things of fluoride. Fluoride is a poison, and the easy way to dispose of it is they can actually have a way they give it to the government, and the government buys it, blah, 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 and they put it in the drinking water. So fluoride is totally bad for you. The real thing is dentists recommend certain things. They don't really recommend. If you talk to a real dentist, they don't recommend it. If you have too much fluoride, it actually hurts your teeth. So, and they say the concentration camps, they use fluoride in the water to pacify people, to make them, it actually lowers your IQ and it pacifies people. Now they're saying, oh, the parts per million are so low. Yeah, right. There's so much crap in the water. There's steroids in the water, methamphetamines in the water. There's everything in the water. If you take regular tap water from a cleanest place and you drink it, it tastes like crap. You have to filter it and do all this crap, and then you can drink it. So, yeah, there's fluoride in the water. It's not good for you, and it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Now you could say it's a conspiracy for people just on the dole, and they're getting it, and they get money, and they don't care. And especially like Poland spring water, it's not spring water. They could put like 1 drop of spring water in it, and it's not even spring water. That spring dried up years ago, right? So it's not spring water. Filter your water. Reverse osmosis water is what I recommend. Lizard people. Wow. Don't hold back. Just ask me anything. So, lizard people. What about these lizard people? What's the story, right? So, the real thing that I think about this whole situation is that how do I put it in words? So, the world, if you look at, you could look at it, we evolved from dinosaurs. We went from dinosaurs, right, to people, right? Now, in the interim, as the dinosaurs were around for millions and millions and millions and millions, like hundreds of millions of years, right? Imagine that you have these millions of years of life, and they end up having souls, and they have a higher aspect to them. Dinosaur, you can think of it like a dinosaur angel, So they have their own dinosaur angel, which would be like a dragon, right? And then you'd have different dinosaur beings in the afterlife. Now, being that they were pretty bad, you could say that they're like demonic, that you have hundreds of millions of years worth of those kind of etherical beings in a whole level of the afterlife, right? Now we are here, right? So we have that layer, out there, and they want that. Some of them were very, powerful, that, over hundreds of millions of years, right? So when they want to come back towards, you know, life, they could possess someone, and then you're getting like the lizard eyes and things like that. So that is my prevailing theory. Take it or leave it. That's my own original idea, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So I think that those are more demonic beings that are have been in, you know, hundreds of, imagine, you know, 100 million years worth of, and I think some of the dinosaurs could have been smarter than what we think. Look at birds and how smart they are. And you know, there's like you know, the gray parrot that's like as smart as a 5-year-old, and they say, and look how small it is, and you're talking about a giant dinosaur. So I think that those kind of beings had their own deities, and they have their own whole thing going on, and it only makes sense. Like, I'm being logical, but if there's an afterlife, you know, where we have, you know, angelic beings, you know, then they would too. But you know, maybe they were more demonic, and that's we have like 100 million, like 300 million years worth of those kind of beings in some kind of astral plane that we have to contend with, you know. So I think they're up on current events too. That doesn't mean that there could be that those structures down towards the center of the earth, maybe lizard people went down there, ended up down there. I'm not sure. There's a lot more going on though than what they're saying in the media, that's for sure. And half the stuff is fake. Most things are fake. So I'm trying to give you a straight scoop. Expose pedophiles. You know, pedophilia is a learned behavior for the most part, as I understand psychology to a bigger degree than most people. So it's a learned behavior. It's not really what you would say is genetic or anything like that, where some homosexuals can say, oh, I have a smaller hypothalamus, that's why I'm gay. These pedophiles are basically, you know, trained to be that way, whether they were molested or whatever. So it is what I consider an illness, and they need to stop. You know, exposed? Should they be exposed? Yeah, stop. Are schools going to add racial injustice to their curriculum? They have that in school. They have. So that's in colleges. Are they going to be in regular grade schools? Yeah, absolutely. They're coming out with that, sure. Expect that. I'd be shocked if they don't. But you know, it's this polarization. Here's the thing: if somebody takes any agenda and takes away your freedom for that agenda, what ends up being is that's negative, right? Any polarization, anything, it can be negative, you know. So you're saying, oh, whatever, when people give, for their agenda and they're getting power, and it's taking away things, it's just negative. So look out for that. Masks until COVID vaccine. Yeah, that's unfortunate, this whole thing. Are they going to make people wear masks until there's a COVID vaccine? Well, negative RNA virus, negative strand RNA viruses, what now they're doing is the viruses have taken you could say, evolutionary leap within these past couple of months. And I try to, warn people a little bit about it. Like I said, hey, just leave it alone. Don't. So, moved around. Basically, it's like it's Mandela affected, and it's doing a couple glitches here and there. So now these viruses are actual, if you look it up, they look just like the nanotechnology. So it's nanotechnology, really what it is. And then it's going to take your DNA, and the viruses are going to take your DNA and splice it and change your DNA to work with it instead of the other way around. It's really crazy. So what in perfect world, we reverse that, but now the viruses were always dead. They weren't alive. Now they're acting more alive, and now they're able to basically hack into people's DNA and change the DNA, which is a crazy thing. What the other thing is, what people don't understand is with these virus, with the vaccine, they want to now, to combat the virus, they want to change your DNA to work with the, to be, not work with, the virus. But what they don't understand, maybe I'm the only person that does, is that they want to change your DNA, you see, give you a vaccine to work with, so you don't get the virus, but the virus can go in, take a sample of your DNA, and then change itself, and then change your DNA too. So this got way out of hand, and there is no way to have a real vaccine. The only way you're going to get a vaccine is a quote-unquote fake vaccine. There is no way to have a vaccine. The reason is, as I just explained, that they're going to want to give you something that doesn't just last for like a week. It lasts for 2 years. It keeps changing your DNA to be repellent against the quote-unquote virus, but yet the virus can mutate and change, and it's taking a sample of you, and then it's changing itself so it works with it. So it's like it's like an arms race between the virus and and us, and the virus is way, like, almost 1 billion years ahead of us. So they have no idea what's going on. It was John Hopkins, but Johns Hopkins just came out with that new study. So there is never going to be a real virus, but a vaccine, but they're going to say there's a vaccine. They're investing a lot of effort and time to figuring out a vaccine, but there really can't be one. They'll do one, they'll make one. Are they going to use this a nano chip? Are they going to use a little, like a it's like, looks like a cross, and they put it on your hand, and then you go underneath the scanner and it shows that you have it and you have the latest thing. They can do that. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have spent a lot of money coming out with that. 2014 they've been working on it. So that could inject you, just like a little touch, and it goes into your body and it changes your DNA, and then gives off an RFID kind of signal, and then it gives off that frequency, so they could take like almost like a black light, and they shine it and say, oh, he got it, she has it. Is that the mark of beast? Is that what they're talking about? A lot of these people are into this. Whether you believe it or not, they believe it. And that would be something that they would be really into. Is it going to work? Is it? Nah, not really. The evolution of things evolving will cope with it, naturally. But these vaccines aren't. I don't think. But hopefully they'll prove me wrong. Maybe they'll come up with something, but I don't think so. Anyway, I answered all those questions and I did it in 40 minutes. Aren't you proud of me? Sorry about all the conspiracies, but those are the questions. So if you want me to talk about anything, just message me and I'll talk about it. All right. Thanks a lot. Like, subscribe, share. Peace out. Bye-bye.